Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Today is the patch 6.25 delivery date, just in a couple of hours from now, and we've got the patch notes which were posted at 7 AM my time. It's currently like 8:20 my time for 6.25. So most people probably know what's in this patch. Obviously we have the Mandeville weapons in this patch. We have Hildebrand storyline, the next chapter of. We have the new tribal quest for the Omicron, and of course we have the variant and criterion mode new scalable dungeons. That's the main meat and potatoes of the patch, if you're wondering. In terms of what's in the patch itself then, and where you start things, so the Hildebrand storyline for somehow the Hildebrand adventures, which unlocks everything else including the weapons as part of that, will start where it left off. Actually, in Radzat Han at X11.8 Y11.2 with the Lunar Conspiracy quest. Now, the second quest in this chain is the Imperfect Gentleman. So there are 2 quests in total for you to complete before you unlock the ability to pick up Make It Mandeville, which is the first quest for the Mandeville relic weapons. Now, of course, this does mean that you need to be caught up with all of your Hildebrand storyline so far, which means starting it all the way at the start of the game, all the way through. And then you need to complete the new stuff, and then you should have the Make It a Mandeville questline, which will unlock the weapons. So there's not really any other information about the relics on this page. They're keeping tight-lipped, as you can possibly imagine, including the visuals and all that stuff. For variant dungeons, you can unlock those if you go to Old Charlian at X12Y13.3 from Shallow Moor, the NPC. To do variant dungeons, you must have first completed Endwalker, the MSQ, and have also spoken with the NPC Osman in Old Charlian. So apparently there is like a quest and a discussion to be had. I can't remember who Osman is, but make sure you do that. And then there's 2 quests associated with variant mode. Variant mode then is essentially your story mode run through of Vasildan's Subterrane, which is the new variant dungeon. So there we go. And presumably you unlock the criterion mode after that, which is probably what this quest line is. The Omicron tribal quests, funnily enough, do actually take place in Ultima Thule at X25.4 Y26.3 from Jammingway. Now, Jammingway is located at the place that looks like the cafe at the end of the universe. You'll know exactly what I mean. It's like a bar. And there is actually a prerequisite, which is players must first have completed the quest where no Laporit has gone before. So if you know about that quest, then there you go. But it's a good bet that that's one of the side quests in the area. I can't remember which one that is off the top of my head right now, but if I do research it, I'll put it here on the screen so we know which one that is. And of course, with that comes a bunch of new rank up quests, which of course we'll need to rank up over the next couple of weeks to be able to unlock our jellyfish mount, and amongst other things, of course. And of course, the currency this time is the it literally is called the Cafe at the End of the Universe. That's fantastic. So it is a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy with that. New Game Plus actually has an update with this Sildan Subterrane as well for variant mode dungeons. So that's an extra thing. Very cool. And it's Omicron Omni tokens is the currency. Very nice stuff. So then we have some new housing stuff from the Furnishing Design Contest from 2019. As you can see, we've got a floated loft here that is one of those, oh, what are those mats called? Not Tabaki mats. What are they called? You'll know what I mean. My culture sensor has fallen off at this point, but those are adorable. Look at those. Those look fantastic. And of course, you can put them on the floor. That shows their dyeability. And we also have, I don't think there's much else different in that picture, is there? Because we've got the rest of this. And then the outside stuff, we've got a bench with a nice table and some coffee and fruit. This looks like a baked-in item, which is nice, which means it'll take up less slots of housing, which is always good. I quite like that. An outdoors table, something we don't really have. And new furnishings have been added, so they've got some of their own stuff. If we sort of squint a little bit and zoom in, We've got a big table here, like an old Charlian sort of desk, it looks like. Some really nice looking chairs. Holy moly, look at all these chairs. And some furniture and like a basin type washing area. Like a mop bucket washing area. That's cool. So for the Mandeville Gold Saucer, new Triad cards have been added. Of course, we've got new NPC opponents. So those will be dotted around. Probably something to do with the Subterrane and maybe to do with obviously the Beast Tribe, right? The tribal quest. They'll have their own cards. There is no information here about where you get that emote because we were curious. Miscellaneous. A log message will now be displayed when trying to leave the island sanctuary while using Duty Finder. I suppose why would you need that? That's interesting. Battle system changes. Okay, so as we predicted, Asphodelo Savage, so the previous tier, has been granted the Echo up to 15% potency. So, of course, if you wanted to go back and do Asphodelos, maybe you missed out on that Savage tier, or want to go back and get some revenge, you totally can do, with a 15% buff to healing, magic potency, damage dealt, and health, which is pretty good. After completing Abyssos, the 7th Circle, and the 7th Circle Savage, the appearance of the arena will be changed. Area, sorry. I'm not sure what that really refers to, so we'll have to have a look. So this is more information on the variant dungeon system. The Seldon Subterrane is the first of which. And of course, you need an average item level of 575 or above. You get synced to 635, which is interesting. And that can be up to 4 players. 90 minutes you get, and you need to be level 90. It says players may enter alone or in a party up to 4 with difficulty scaling according to party size. And that's unlocked in Old Charlian, as we said earlier. There's a new UI for this, which looks pretty nice. And at the top, you'll notice there's a toggle for Criterion mode as well. A lot of people will be doing the Savage race for Criterion World first. So that's how you access that if you're curious. But yes, you can enter solo and you choose to a variant action. So obviously, if you went in as a DPS, you might want to get the tank ability as well as the heal ability, and then you can basically solo. There is also matchmaking. Make certain the box enable party matching is checked, then register for duty. There is a toggleable switch. Here it is, look, enable party matching. So if you want to, not queue solo, you tick that button and then you press register for register for duty. Sorry, it's early morning for me. Yes, so it's all register for beauty this morning. Role requirements. When matching with a party, there are no role requirements or restrictions for parties. Players can freely change to any job or class that has reached level 90. Oh, that's interesting. They can change to any job or class. Is that inside? That's interesting. That makes things a little bit more simple to deal with what you've been queued with. Variant actions to allow for greater freedom. Variant dungeons grant access to the use of special variant actions. These actions mimic existing abilities such as Cure or Rampart. Moreover, certain attributes will be adjusted to compensate for the disparity of strength between certain roles, alleviating the need for dedicated tanks, DPS, or healers. It's basically the same system we had for logograms and stuff like that, so it's awesome. Very cool stuff. To set those, obviously you click the button that says set. We don't need to dwell on that too much. Then we have the Criterion dungeon. Oh, actually, hold on. Just before we get onto that, item exchange. By speaking with Trissant in Old Charlian at these coordinates here, x11.913.3y, players can exchange tokens obtained from completing Criterion dungeons for various goods. So this is nothing to do with variant. So Criterion mode is the the more difficult version, right? Whereas variant dungeons are more casual story-based experiences, Criterion dungeons are more challenging duties that require a party comprised of 1 tank, 1 healer, and 2 DPS. That's got an average item level of 610 to get in, so a bit higher, and you sync to 635. Same other restrictions, apart from you have to be 4 players. After completing the quest, A Key to the Past, speak with Osman. Oh, that's to unlock that then. So Osman unlocks the Criterion mode. You can register for Criterion dungeons via the VNC Dungeon Finder found under Duty in the main menu, and you can basically be matched for the what is it, normal version. So there is matchmaking for that. Item level restrictions, role requirements do not apply when registering with 4 players. That's a good one to know. So if someone's under 610, you can still do Criterion, but you will have to have a full pre-made. Very cool stuff. There are some other restrictions as well. Obviously, with the scaling in mind, variant actions. When undertaking another Sildan Subterrane, all party members will be equipped with a variant Raise 2. No other variant actions can be set. So that's the major difference with Criterion and this one, right? And variant. So variant Raise 2 may only be used twice per party member. However, there will be opportunities to replenish charges of this action. With that comes other resurrection restrictions. While undertaking this duty, players will be subjected to a status effect that prevents resurrection by certain means. Raise effects granted by variant Raise 2 are exempt from this restriction. So basically they're saying that if you have Raise on your job, it's not really going to work. The only way to resurrect in the Criterion mode is to use the variant action you're given, which you can only use twice per player, which is still pretty generous, but it's obviously going to be difficult when we go to Savage, for example, which is the other difficulty. For that, then, there isn't a level requirement by the looks of it. It says, after completing another Sildan Subterrane, so the basic level Criterion, speak to Osman as a disciple of 90 Oral Magic. To enter those, it's the same thing with the VNC Dungeon Finder. Party of 4 players is required to register, so there is no matchmaking for this. This is the same scaling. Variant actions cannot be used in Savage, so there is no variant actions. You've just got to go there and don't die. The following additional rules apply to Savage. Here we go. You ready for this? While undertaking this duties, players cannot resurrect. Respawn point restrictions. Unlike normal dungeons, players will be unable to return to the Criterion dungeon starting point once incapacitated. So if you die, that's it. Reset after party KO. In the event all party members are incapacitated, all progress will be reset, and the party must begin from the start of the instance. That's actually pretty good, having a wipe like that. Sewer Dweller. After a certain amount of time has passed since first engaging enemies in the Criterion dungeon, all enemies will be granted the Sewer Dweller effect, greatly increasing their damage dealt while also reducing the damage taken. The time until Sewer Dweller is applied to enemies will be reset, should all party members be incapacitated. So it's a race against time, and if you do die, have a wipe, you've got to start from the beginning. The time is reset. Incapacitation after logout. Party members who log out of the game while in combat will be returned in an incapacitated state. That's to prevent people from cheesing it. And there is a place, like we say in Old Charlene, you can exchange tokens from this. So there's probably going to be various goods. That could be lots of things, including probably our chair for completion, right? But lots of cool rules. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that myself, probably at the weekend. PvP. In certain PvP duties, it was possible for players to interact with and take control of certain devices with little risk via the effect of Guardian used by Paladin. As this was an unintended use of the action, Guardian will no longer have an effect on targets interacting with an object. So this was an exploit, obviously, that's been fixed. So obviously, if you were interacting with something and people were wailing on you, they would be able to continue. That was unintended, and that's been fixed. A log message will now be displayed when registration for Crystalline Conflict is cancelled due to arena changes. That's an important one because half of the time you're queuing, you're grinding away to try and work on your series progress, and suddenly it unqueues you, and you don't realize, and then you're like, oh, why did I get unqueued? And then you re-queue, and it's actually because of area changes, so that's good. It's going to tell you now. New items have been added. Obviously, we've got that sort of spy outfit. It doesn't say where that's from, but I still guess Hildebrand, personally, because of the thematic nature of that storyline. New recipes, obviously they're going to list this stuff later. So with this comes new Biner and Botanist gathering points, New items to those gathering points, new fishing holes, new fish have been added. They've renamed the fishing hole in Ultima Full from Elegaya to Abode of the EA. So, yeah, obviously with the new tribe, it's a gathering tribe. So with that comes new places to gather, obviously. The following adjustments have been made to the Wellspring of Regret and Abode of EA fishing holes. The level of these fishing holes has been reduced from 90 to 84. Interesting. And time-worn Canberra skin maps can no longer be obtained from these fishing holes. That makes sense because that's now going to be used for the tribal quest. Obviously, new mounts have been added. We know of 3 in existence for this patch so far, just from what we know before. So, obviously, the jellyfish from the tribal quest. We have the chair mount from the Savage version of Criterion. And then we also have a mouse-type mount for completing all 12 story run-throughs of the variant mode, right? Those 3 we know of. There's probably more, though. New minions have been added. Oh, that's adorable. Is that a little Lizzie? Little lizard. Oh, that's beautiful. I want to know where he's from. Probably from the Subterrane, because he looks like the sort of thing you'd expect in Uldar. And then there's new fashion accessories. Oh my god, that's brilliant. It's a cactuar umbrella. Cactuar parasol. That is beautiful. I don't know where that's from, but hopefully we can all get our hands on that. I can't wait to can't wait to make a video on that. Some system changes then, very briefly before we wrap up. New achievements and titles, new adventurer plates and portrait elements have been added. Very cool. The VNC Dungeon Finder category has been added to the Party Finder window, obviously for Variant and Criterion in the main menu. Keybinds. Oh, that emote was wow. So that's what the emote is. It's /wow. Amazing. Owen Wilson fans, be proud. And then we have a log message. Will now be displayed if you've used a world visit or data center travel systems. Do not log into your home world for a prolonged period of time, and you'll see this. This message was added to serve as a reminder for free company masters to periodically log into their home worlds, as free company ownership will be automatically transferred to another free company member in the event the owner does not log on their home world for 35 days. Ooh. I didn't realize that. That's interesting, but I'm always on my server anyway. Players who have yet to log in on their homeworld since the release of 6.25 will also receive this message. As such, players are encouraged to visit their homeworld. So at least they're warning people that you can't just go play on someone else's server with World Visit and never be home on your own. Otherwise, you're going to lose your FC. So there we go. New trophies for PlayStation 5 and new music and sound effects. So that's pretty much the patch notes. We have some resolved issues. Might be interesting to just scan through these. Following issues have been addressed. An issue where undertaking the quest Seeking Sanctuary, wherein the recommendations window only displays the quest icon under certain conditions, so that's been fixed. There was an issue with Alexander, the Heart of a Creator, wherein the damage of certain attacks was not downscaled. Is that why Heart of a Creator melts so quickly? Interesting. That's been fixed. An issue wherein using the Dark Knight PvP action Eventide, wherein the Undead Redemption status effect granted by this action prohibited movement under certain conditions. Oh, okay. There was an issue when using the White Mage PvE action Liturgy of the Bell, wherein the effect duration listed in the help text after placing a healing blossom at a designated location was incorrect. But it was just a tooltip issue. Crystalline Conflict ranked matches had players receiving streak bonuses even without meeting requirements. I wish that had happened to me, honestly. I would have been, I would have been done with my ranking, which sadly I'm not. It's very tough this season. There was an issue where players did not accumulate rested bonus when logging out on the Island Sanctuary. Of course, yeah, the bed kind of helped, like you could log out there, but it didn't give you rested XP, which is weird. There was an issue on Island Sanctuary wherein players could not dismount from their mounts. Okay. Releasing minions on the island wherein the positioning of minion effects and dialogue bubbles was incorrect. Okay, that's minor. When attempting to visit other island sanctuaries wherein certain islands did not appear in the list of available locations, even when meeting requirements. Okay. The graphics of the practical ponytail hairstyle did not display correctly when playing as a female Rogadin or female Aura under certain conditions. So they fixed that. So there was a big issue where like bald patches were appearing on certain characters. That has been fixed. That's good to know. So if you're an Aura female or a female Rogadin, you can enjoy that practical ponytail hairstyle now. That's good to know. There was an issue using the glamour dresser wherein the icon for gear placed in the dresser did not display correctly. The graphics of Fat Cat loungewear did not display correctly when equipped under certain conditions. Interesting, I didn't know that. An issue wherein jobs other than Paladin could select need when lotting on certain coffer manifests containing a set of gladiator arms and shields. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's been fixed. And there are other minor text issues and other issues they don't want to talk about that have been addressed. So currently known problems. There's an issue wherein the sound effects played when entering or leaving the variant dungeon for Sildan Subterrane are incorrect. Players are able to enter the variant dungeon for Sildan Subterrane without meeting the eye level requirements under certain conditions. Ooh, that's interesting. There's an issue after entering Sildan Subterrane where the default position of the cursor after closing the variant action windows is incorrect. It's a bit minor, but okay. Certain graphics do not display correctly in the variant dungeon Sildan Subterrane, the Criterion mode, and a Criterion Savage, so there's a bit of a bug with those as well. Apparently an issue when selecting these in the VNC Dungeon Finder wherein the requirements for duty complete under matching requirements do not display. They say the duty complete option can only be selected if players have previously completed the duty. Oh, interesting. Okay. Another issue with the VNC Dungeon Finder help window wherein there is no text indicating that variant actions cannot be set during combat or while variant actions are on cooldown. Okay, so that's a tooltip miss that they forgot to put on. An issue with VNC wherein the tooltip for rewards continues to display erroneously under certain conditions. There's an issue with the Omicron tribal quest wherein the map opened via coordinates sent from other players does not display correctly under certain conditions. Also, another one with the Omicrons is wherein entering Elysion from another area causes the map to display incorrectly, but the map displays correctly when opened via the duty list or journal. Okay. And finally, an issue with the quest The Imperfect Gentleman wherein a certain text is incorrect. So the Imperfect Gentleman is that last Hildebrand quest before you unlock your Hildebrand weapons. So if the text looks a bit screwy, that's to be expected. Of course, 6.25 is obviously going to take a while to iron out, but there's some really interesting things in this patch. Of course, the main meat and potatoes being Savage mode of Criterion for most people, but of course, variant mode and all that stuff. And of course, we've got a relic weapon, so expect a little bit of roughness when a brand new system is being introduced, like Criterion and variant. Give them time, I'm sure they'll fix everything that is problematic, but from what I've read here, it doesn't seem like there's anything majorly problematic. It's just a few graphical bugs and text bugs. For the most part, this patch looks quite polished, and I'm glad they pushed this out, and we get to go and collect all of our relics and do some quests and stuff today, so I'm very excited. Anyway, more videos on 6.25 today, and also I should be live streaming later as well. So much love, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.